Inspector MUELLER is a portly, balding man in a hat and trench coat. A heavy cloud of depression and cigarette smoke hang over him at all hours of the day. This morning, he stands on the edge of the river's mouth and stares down at a dead body pulled up on the bank next to Detective Wagner, frail and ferret-like, who crouches by the body. Inspector MUELLER deftly holds his cigarette between his ring and middle fingers as he flips open a small notebook and scribbles a few thoughts down.
What do we know, Wagner?
Soldier, 30s by the looks of it. His papers are on him, but the water washed them out. It looks like a slit throat. No other wounds that I can see.
As Wagner gestures to the neck area, Inspector MUELLER uses his foot to turn the face of the body towards him.
Sad bastard.
Shall I ask the locals if they saw anything, sir?
MUELLER doesn't turn to look at his concerned assistant, simply scribbles a few more notes.
I'll know that.
You think there was foul play, Detective?
Murder. Technically, I suppose. But these are extraordinary times, Wagner. We're at war. Again. We train these boys to kill. They get drunk and their instincts take over. The army has no appetite for murder investigations at the moment.
MUELLER slips a pocket watch out of his vest and springs it open. A photo of a bright-eyed teenage girl smiles back at him. The straight line of his mouth inches upwards on the right side until he snaps the watch shut again. A last draw of his cigarette, and then he flicks it towards the body.
Add him to the pile, and then head back to start the paperwork. I'll meet you there.
Yes, sir.
As his assistant gets to work, Inspector MUELLER turns to walk back towards the street. He flips to the back of the notebook and lands on a page titled Rats, with 14 hash marks scrolled out. He crosses the last 4 to signify 15, and then closes the book. Fritz pushes his way into the Fisher home, his hair glowing in the morning sun. He carries a basket filled with fresh breads and fruits.
Good morning, girls. I brought breakfast.
Morning, Fritzy.
Perks of the priesthood, huh?
She snatches an apple from the basket and takes a bite.
You could say that.
And anything about Mama?
Not yet. But I did ask someone who might be able to find out for us.
Who?
Can't tell you that. I don't even know their names myself, actually.
So, what are we supposed to do? Sit around and wait?
I know it's hard to be patient, Violette. But yes, right now, that's what I'm asking of you.
But what if she's hurt or in trouble? We might not have time for patience, Fritz.
Fritz sighs and rips apart a bread roll.
Vi, I promise I'm trying everything I can to find Maria. But your mother, she can handle herself in difficult situations. More than you realize. We must have faith in her.
Well, what about us then? Shouldn't we learn how to handle ourselves in difficult situations?
Eliza?
She's right. If we really don't know where Mama is, how do we even know we're safe here?
Especially if someone finds out about what we did.
Fritz rips his bread into smaller and smaller pieces, never actually eating any of it. He debates with himself in his mind for several long moments before.
No one will find out. I understand your fears, girls. I don't like violence, much less you girls being exposed to any more than you already have been. But you're right. Until we know what's going on, you need to learn how to defend yourselves.
Really?
Yes. I'll arrange for you to be trained in how to use a gun. But only to protect yourselves, understood?
Both girls nod hastily. Fritz pauses just briefly, already questioning his decision. He reaches for a pen and paper and begins scribbling.
There's a training area in the warehouse district that the organization uses. You can go tonight. I'll make sure they know you're coming.
You're not going to be there?
I can't, unfortunately.
He hands Violet the scrap of paper and pulls the pistol he'd taken from the first night from under his robes.
I suppose you'll need this?
You took it?
Clearly you didn't miss it much, if you didn't even know I had it.
So who are we meeting?
People your mother trusts. You'll know them when you see them.
What exactly does Ma do, Fritz?
It's not my place to say. And it doesn't matter. You're there to learn to defend yourselves, and that's it. Stay alert. Nothing is ever quite as it seems anymore.
We'll be fine, Fritz. Thank you.
All right. Enough of that. Let's eat.
The 3 cousins tuck into their breakfast, each lost in their own thoughts. That night, Violet and Elisabeth gingerly pick their way through the warehouse district on the outskirts of town. Discarded metal scraps litter the dusty road. The steady clanging of various machines fills the air with an industrial symphony so loud that they give up trying to chat and simply walk in silence. Most of the functioning factories are clustered together, but Fritz's instructions lead them to a seemingly abandoned one at the end of the row. The girls poke their heads into the pitch darkness.
Hello?
We're here for training.
Nothing. They step back outside. Elisabeth squints at Fritz's instructions, scouring it for a detail they must have missed. Violet peers up and down the street, attempting to hide her nerves under a grumpy exterior.
This is bullshit.
I don't understand. We did exactly as Fritz instructed. This is the place.
Well, we must be missing something. Let's see if there's a light.
Violet turns and walks back through the warehouse door, right into a huge hooded figure, gruff and lumberjack-like. She yelps, and the man immediately grabs her and covers her mouth. She thrashes wildly in his grip.
Violet!
Elisabeth fights through the layers of her coat to find the pistol. She holds it with both hands.
Stupid girl.
Who are you?
I'm Charlie. We're here to train.
Elisabeth nods, gun still held up in front of her, frozen. Violet shakes her mouth free from the man's grip and glowers at him as she tries to wiggle free from his grip.
Yes, we're here to train. Let me go.
Charlie releases her, crosses his arms and just stares at the girls. Violet brushes herself off, still coming down from the scare.
That was highly unnecessary.
Until you've proven yourself trustworthy, young lady, I'm the one who decides what is and what isn't necessary round here. Your safety's still on, by the way.
He nods towards Elisabeth's gun as he casually pulls a lighter out of his pocket. He flicks the lighter on, then turns on his heel and starts to walk back into the darkness as the girls look at one another, dumbstruck.
Are you coming or not?
Girls quickly scuttle into the darkness behind him, the tiny flame their only guide. Charlie walks about 20 feet before stopping at yet another door. He extinguishes his lighter and pushes through. They enter a sectioned-off area of the warehouse, several bare bulbs creating a dim glow in the mostly empty room. There's a row of bottles lined up on barrels at the far end, and several paper targets posted to bales of hay. 3 men hover around a small table and stack of crates on the other corner.
Hatch, trigger, auto. Fresh meat, boys. On your feet.
Elisabeth and Violet shrink towards one another subconsciously as the men look them over with hungry eyes. They're all ragged looking. Patch is aptly named, wearing a black covering over a missing eye. Trigger is twitchy, constantly eyeing all corners of the room and fiddling with something, anything. And Otto doesn't even look up from his drink as they enter the room.
Teach these two how to shoot. Authorised by Sparrow.
Sent them.
Those were the orders. Not our job to imagine, Patch.
Why are you here then?
To learn to shoot.
Yeah, but for what? What the fuck does Sparrow want with 2 little girls?
Who are you to question Sparrow's judgment?
Violet looks at her sister, shocked by her boldness. Otto finally turns round from his drink to take them in.
Stop your yapping and get to it.
I'm just saying it's odd.
Shut it, Patch. Get set up.
The men shuffle about the room, pulling guns and bullets from the crates and taking swigs of their beers as they work. Patch and Trigger mutter to one another under their breath and rearrange targets while the girls look on awkwardly, until Otto waves the girls over. They're each handed a loaded pistol, and the 4 men step to the side and wait.
Let's see what you can do.
So we should just shoot something?
Ideally, a target.
The girls look at him blankly, not understanding. Otto chimes in.
You hear the clanging from the factory? Follow the beat. Shoot on the beat. Drowns out the gunfire. Got it?
Let's just do it.
Violet raises her gun, positions and repositions her body, then repositions again and takes a deep breath, then pulls the trigger. Nowhere near the target. The men laugh amongst themselves. Violet keeps her face neutral and nods at Elisabeth. It's her turn now. The younger Fisher sister studies the targets with a long, hard look before raising her gun. She sucks in a huge breath, closes her eyes, and Elisabeth's arm flies backwards. The bullet nearly hits the window at the top of the building. The men crow in laughter now. Violet is convinced she sees Trigger shed a tear.
I changed my mind. This is going to be good.
All right. Rule number 1. Never close your eyes when you pull the trigger. Rule number 2. Don't stand like an idiot.
Charlie comes up behind Violet and repositions her body into the proper stance. Trigger does the same for Elisabeth. He lingers just a moment too long to be comfortable.
And don't hold your breath.
Go again. On the beat, remember.
The men step back as the girls set up again. Violet first. She hits the corner of a target this time, but not the one she was aiming for. Then Elisabeth. Better than last time, but still too high. The men shake their heads. Patch and Trigger make a bet.
Again.
Aim and fire. Aim and fire. Eventually, Trigger and Patch get bored of watching and do their own target practice farther down the row. Charlie and Otto continue to grimly make adjustments. The girls go through what feels like a bucket of bullets until their arms begin to pivot uncontrollably. Their brows slick with sweat. Finally, the two older men signal to stop.
All right, that'll do for today. Come back tomorrow, same time.
The girls nod. Trigger takes their guns from them. Otto says nothing, already back to cradling his drink. Patch grins devilishly at them as he cleans his gun.
Maybe next time you'll actually hit something.
If you're lucky, I might hit you.
Violet glares at him. Elisabeth pulls her out the door. Lights up. The Schadenfreude Bar's secret swing club is alive again with happy patrons enjoying their drink, their women, and Iris's show, obviously. The redhead works the room with ease as she croons out a sultry ballad, meandering her loop through the crowd like a lazy lion with plenty of gazelles upon which to prey. There's a man sitting alone in shadow. Iris approaches his table and leans in close. Let me see you, baby. The mystery man leans forward, still cradling his drink. He's in his 50s, but solid and lethal looking, evident from the horrifically bumpy scar along his jawline from ear to chin. He gives her a nod and soaks in the cheers from the other men in the room.
Fräulein.
Iris gasps and her eyes go wide as she recognises the man. She's too shaken to even flash a smile at him. She quickly turns and looks for HUGO. Shit. She's offbeat and missing lines in the song now. She nearly sprints back to the stage, eyes searching frantically for HUGO. There he is, by the band. Iris motions with her head, and HUGO casually makes his way to stand behind the seated mystery man as she struggles to get back into the groove of the song. She can't let anyone catch on to her behaviour, especially while the man is here. She sits on a surprised soldier's lap and kisses him square on the mouth. The room erupts in excitement. Men leap up to see. Nobody cares about her song anymore. The piano man leading the band sees the action and jumps into a more lively song to match the energy in the room. The audience hollers and hoots, thoroughly enjoying the show. Iris releases the lucky soldier and walks back up the stairs to the stage. HUGO is waiting for her signal. She gives a nod of confirmation, and he smoothly grabs the mystery man, and they exit the room. Nobody notices but Iris. She returns her attention to the crowd. That's all for tonight, boys. Come back tomorrow and maybe you'll get lucky. She winks in the direction of the soldier she kissed, then smiles and laughs as she's showered with Reichsmarks by the adoring Nazi soldiers. She glances towards the back of the room. The man is gone. She gives a quick curtsy to the soldiers as the curtains close. Iris immediately sprints off the stage as cold panic creeps into her bones.
What happened?
Nothing. I have to go.
Take it easy, Iris.
I'm fine. I just need to go.
Sit. Let me get you a glass of water first. Or vodka. Whatever you want. Just tell me what happened. Who was that man?
I can't.
Iris.
HUGO, I love you, but don't make me hurt you. Let me go, please. Her breathing uneven, she pulls her coat over her costume, slings her purse over her shoulder, and sprints out the back door into the alley. The door to a small, dingy flat slams open as Iris rushes through. For how meticulously she cares for her appearance, the makeup, the hair, the fabulous clothes. By contrast, her living space might be considered messy. By some. A small mattress is shoved into a corner. There's one chair beside a lopsided table, and a wardrobe overflows with glittering clothing. Iris tosses her purse and coat on a bed, then steps over piles of clothes, empty liquor bottles, strewn papers and bags and boxes as she moves into the small bathroom. She efficiently washes her hands and face, melting away the pristine starlit club singer. Brush the teeth, smear a pungent white cream on her face, comb out and reset the curls with whitened knuckles. Though she never falters, her hands begin to shake with a pent-up rage. Iris places the hairbrush on the edge of the sink and looks at her reflection deeply. Those under-eye circles look darker than they did yesterday. She grabs a bottle of pills and pops a few into her mouth. Her eyes flick to the corner of the mirror. A photo of a row of Nazi officials is tucked there. A red circle has been drawn around the face of one man. It's the very mystery man from the bar she saw tonight. Her eyes lock onto his face.
What the fuck is wrong with me? Ugh! He was right there, you fucking idiot.
Iris grabs the hairbrush and throws it into the other room. But just as suddenly, her rage dissolves into angry tears as she slides to the bathroom floor, the shaking creating ripples down her arms and legs. She sobs as the mystery man watches on coldly from the photograph. Cornelia's father, Hans, is short, always slightly sweaty, and constantly slicking back his hair to cover his bald spot, which doesn't quite hide as much as he hopes. He sits behind his desk in his home office, facing General Wolfgang. The general is lean, muscular, and handsome. He wears a network of scars on his face with pride and is impeccably dressed in his SS uniform. He lights a cigar as he listens intently to Hans. Neither notice the eye peering through a small hole in the office wall.
There is 110% right now, Wolfie. The factory is running 24 hours. The army takes my men, and the raw materials do not arrive. What would you have me do?
I will relay your efforts, but your work ethic is not what's in question, Hans.
What's in?
You know what.
I told you before. It's fine, Wolf. He was officially sent away to our Swiss family before the war. I have the papers. He's a burden to no one. He barely exists.
If only you actually had sent him away, Hans.
You know that I tried. His mother... But you know Gretchen?
Yes, I do. Unfortunately, what Gretchen wants doesn't matter now, Hans. Action T4 are zealous. They were not fooled by your papers.
It was your job to fool them. They are under your command, Wolfie.
Hans leaps from his chair in anger. He catches himself, slicking back his hair repeatedly as he lowers himself back down.
Listen to me. At this point, it's not just about the boy. It's a risk to your entire family. And it is now a risk to me. There is no more time, and there are no more options.
The general stands, giving one last look at his friend, and offers a nod as he makes his way to the door.
Take care of it, Hans.
The eye in the peephole disappears in a blink. Cornelia sits in her bed reading, covered in pink and white quilts. She hears a soft knock on the door and rises to answer it. A young boy, Max, stands there, smiling sheepishly. Max is a handsome, bright-looking child. He looked like any other young boy if it weren't for the large, visible hump in his back and misshapen arm.
I think I will get to leave the house soon.
Sneaking out at night again, are we?
No, I mean go away. To school, maybe.
Max, what are you talking about?
I heard them talking. Papa and the wolf. I like the wolf. He wants me to go, and that's what I want too. I want to go to school like you do.
He said school? Max, are you sure?
Well, no, but I think that's what he means. Papa was upset, but he should let me go. I want to go.
School isn't any fun. You wouldn't like it.
You're just saying that.
He turns to the door, but then pauses.
I love you too.
He gives her a quick smile, then slips out. The next day, Elisabeth and Violet return to the warehouse for their second day of training. This time, they find their own way to the hidden section of the building. Otto stands in the corner making ammunition with a bullet press, while Charlie cleans guns. Patch and Trigger are on the practice range, expertly knocking down a row of cans and wooden targets. They stop when they see the sisters in the doorway.
Damn it! They came back.
What I tell you, Trig, that'll be 5 Reichsmarks.
Patch gleefully pockets the money from a grumbly Trigger.
We're knocking down smaller targets today. You can trade off with Patch and Trigger.
The girls trade their coats for weapons, then meander over to where the two young men have returned to their practice.
Watch first.
Trigger lives up to his name, taking hardly any time between shots and hitting his mark every time. Patch has no slouch either, and has adapted well despite being down an eye. He only misses one target.
See if all one eye here can do it. You girls will be fine.
The men walk down the line to reset the targets, then off to the side.
Give her a go.
Elisabeth goes first this time. While she feels significantly less awkward holding the gun, the tiny muscles in her arms scream as she raises it.
Breathe. Eyes open. Aim. Shoot.
Miss. Wild miss. But then, she nicks the corner of the last target. Better than expected. Violet's turn now. She takes less time to prepare than... It's a hit. Next one is a miss, and a miss again. She sighs and lowers the weapon. Charlie and Otto look on, impressed.
Oh, you got too excited by that first one, that'll throw you off. You have to ground yourself. Excitement or fear will neutralise any training you have if you're not careful.
Right. All right.
And you don't know how to trust yourself. Get out of your own head.
I don't know how to do that.
Better figure it out. Could save you.
Elisabeth nods, then looks at the two older men for a long moment.
Do you work with Sparrow often?
What's it to you?
Just curious.
Sparrow's not someone worth being curious about, girl. She gives you an order, you follow it.
So she's your boss?
She's lots of people's boss. We're not here for chit-chat, we're here to shoot. Well, go on then.
Reset your targets, then go again.
The sisters repeat the exercise again and again. Violet catches on quickly, hitting 1 or 2 targets every round. Elisabeth struggles, but even she successfully hits a target every so often. The next afternoon, Violet and Elisabeth walk through the streets in the posh area of town. They stop outside a beautifully maintained brownstone.
Remind me again why we're doing this?
Because I'm finally not a complete outcast at school and I like to revel in it while it lasts. And figure out what Cornelia's hiding.
Violet is not impressed by her answer. Elisabeth tries a new tactic.
I bet they have rich people food in there we've never even heard of.
That's going to last all of 2 seconds when they see what we're wearing.
Come on, we're supposed to be acting like everything is normal, right? What's more normal than a party?
Elisabeth, we don't go to parties. Also, we hate these people.
Please?
Oh, fine. You get 2 hours. Tops.
Thank you.
The sisters walk up the front steps and ring the bell. A maid answers and leads them into the sitting room. The room is filled with girls from school, most decked out in pastel frills and bows, giggling and eating candies from trays set out around the room. Violet and Elisabeth stick out like a sore thumb in their dark wool frocks in grey and brown and green. Cornelia spots Elisabeth from across the room and makes her way to them. She's less than pleased to see them, but attempts to hide it under a thinly veiled smile.
Elisabeth, you're here. And you brought your sister. Lovely.
You invited me. I figured since we're friends now, it would be rude not to attend.
Right. Well, come in then.
She leads them to seats on a small bench in the corner of the room, with a decorative table and vase of flowers between them. A mousy-looking girl with glasses sits by the window.
This is my cousin Francine. You both spend most of your time with the Haselden books, so...
She gestures as if that's enough said, before flitting back to the other side of the room, where the girls are gathered round a sofa.
Hello, Francine. I'm Elisabeth Fisher. This is my sister, Violet.
Hello. I swear I'm nicer than my cousin.
And you're already a friend in my book. Are you here visiting?
Yes, with my father for a few weeks. He and my uncle fancy themselves important to the cause, which really just means whining and dining with the generals to ensure the family business is thriving.
Violet nearly chokes on the candy she's been steadily eating from the tray. Elisabeth giggles.
That sounds an awful lot like what Cornelia does at school, actually. Well, except with parties instead of businesses.
You don't seem like the other girls Cornelia spends time with.
Because we're poor?
Violet!
Oh, no, I meant because you're not idiots who choose to fill their heads with pink fluffy clouds and bonbons while people are dying around them.
Suddenly, Cornelia leaps from her chair and strides across the room to where Elisabeth and Violet are seated.
How silly of me. I forgot to introduce Violet to everyone. She's a year ahead of us. Why don't you tell everyone about yourself, Violet?
Violet begrudgingly complies. Meanwhile, ever so subtly, Cornelia slides the vase over about a foot. The other girls don't notice the odd behaviour, but Elisabeth does. With Cornelia's back turned, Elisabeth peers behind the vase, only to find a human eye, nose and corner of a mouth staring back at her through a gap in the wallpaper. Though she can only see a small part of his face, Elisabeth immediately senses how intelligent he is. She gives him a wink, then pushes the vase back to where it was, restoring his view of the room. Cornelia bristles, then squeezes herself in on the bench next to Violet and casually edges the vase back again, then flashes her eyes at Elisabeth in warning. Elisabeth raises her eyebrows in response, then draws an angry face in the dust on the table. Then she subtly points to Cornelia. Giggles emerge from the wall. Cornelia jumps up to drown out the giggles with her own voice.
I think our tea should be ready now. Shall we go to the dining room, girls?
Cornelia shoots a pointed look over her shoulder towards Elisabeth as she ushers the herd of teen girls away. Elisabeth flashes her a middle finger in response, then turns back to the hole in the wall. She gestures around the corner.
Meet me in there.
The little face nods. Elisabeth scoops up a few wrapped candies from the table and walks into the next room. 2 feet stick out from underneath the thick velvet curtains. She approaches with the candies outstretched as an offering.
Hello, I'm Elisabeth. Who are you meant to be?
The small hand reaches out, snatches the candies quickly from Elisabeth's palm.
I'm not meant to be.
You aren't meant to be what?
Be? I'm not meant to be.
See?
He pulls the curtain back slightly, revealing the physical deformities on his left side.
Oh. Yes, I do see. Well, I think that you are meant to be. But I suppose what I think doesn't matter much in this world.
Max reveals an eye from behind the curtain, and then his full face. He smiles.
I like you. I'm Max.
The sound of footsteps near from the hall. Both Max and Elisabeth stiffen and hold their breath. You never saw me. Elisabeth stands up straight and turns as Cornelia's mother, Gretchen, an anxiety-ridden Rose, enters the room stiffly and looks round.
Come, dear. You'll miss the party.
Of course. I was just admiring your beautiful home.
She trails behind Gretchen to rejoin the oblivious girls. After Cornelia's party, the sisters arrive at the warehouse for their 3rd training session. Charlie's nowhere to be seen. Trigger and Pat drink and laugh loudly. Otto is so drunk he's starting to doze off in his chair.
Violet, they're drunk. We should go.
If we leave, they'll think we're afraid.
Well, I am afraid.
Ignore them. It'll be fine.
The girls take off their coats and walk over to a table to select weapons.
Aye, dressed up for us tonight, our girls.
Fucking finally. I know Sparrow and I do ours for nothing.
Elisabeth swallows hard to conceal her nerves, hands shaking as she reaches for the bullets. Violet doesn't even look up as she loads her gun.
Come on, girls. Enough with the guns. Have a little fun with us.
Trigger saunters over, bottle still in hand. He moves in close behind Violet, his chest pressed against her back, his hot breath stinking of alcohol in her ear. She freezes as he whispers.
I see how you look at me. I know you want it.
He grabs her rear end and squeezes hard. She turns quickly and points the gun at him. Pat laughs hysterically at Trigger, slapping a passed-out Otto's arm to try to get him to join in, but he's out cold. Trigger stumbles back a few steps, glowering at Violet and Elisabeth.
Violet, we need to leave now.
No. I'm here to train.
Violet sets her mouth in a hard line and begins to shoot at targets. Elisabeth lingers a moment, then takes a swig of the liquor the men left on their table as Trigger returns to his seat. Violet is steady as a rock, taking down her targets consistently. Even Elisabeth is having a good day, downing most of hers. They've improved significantly since their first session. Pat applauds them after each hit, genuinely impressed and still goading Trigger over his rejected advances. The sisters set their pistols down and walk to the end of the row to reset their targets. Elisabeth gives her sister a gentle nudge.
You proved your point, now let's go.
Not yet. We can't let this idiot intimidate us.
Elisabeth shakes her head, but continues to reset the targets when one of the targets nearby goes spinning wildly. Trigger and Pat laugh.
What the fuck? We're setting up, assholes!
Trigger raises his gun again, and Elisabeth drags Violet behind a dilapidated brick wall. Another shot.
Stop it!
Trigger continues to fire to the beat of the machinery. As both men cackle, Violet looks around him. A few loose bricks are piled in the corner. She grabs one.
I'll make them stop.
Violet leans against the brick wall, counting along to the machinery beats under her breath.
1, 2, 3.
She leaps out between the beats and hurls the brick at Trigger. It hits him smack on the bridge of his nose and throws him backwards. Patch bursts into even more hysterical laughter as Trigger curses and clutches his bleeding face. He levels his eyes on Violet, anger rushing through his every pore.
You fucking bitch! Enough!
Otto is finally awake again from his drunken stupor and unamused by the scene. He's up on his feet now and wrestles the pistol from the seething man.
Go!
The girls don't wait to see what happens next. They sprint out the door and don't look back. The following night, the girls and Fritz sit at the dinner table together. They make the sign of the cross as they finish their prayer over the meal.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you for dinner, Fritz.
Of course. Tell me, how has it been with your self-defense lessons?
Fine. We learnt what we needed to.
Good. Is there anything else I can do to make you feel safe?
I don't think we'll feel safe until we know Mama is okay.
How are you managing? I can imagine your hearts might be in a great deal of pain.
We're managing, I suppose. Is there something we should do to atone for what we did?
I believe you acted out of noble intent and ultimately self-defense. The Lord will grant his forgiveness to pure, repentant hearts. Are you sleeping?
As much as we can. I'd be lying if I said the nightmares weren't horrific.
I'm sorry, Vi. I'm sorry both of you became entangled in all this.
Did your friend have any information, Fritz?
I haven't received a response yet.
Well, surely there's someone else we can ask. Some kind of lead?
I don't know much about the people Maria works with, girls. I wasn't allowed to know much, you understand.
What do you know, then?
Very little, as I keep trying to tell you. I help your mother hide those who need sanctuary. That's all.
But there has to be some way we can find out.
No. We are not doing anything that might put you girls in danger.
But you haven't
I
even
let
seen...
you get trained for your protection only. You may continue to train if it helps you feel safe, but that's it. Let me worry about finding her, all right?
You're right, Fritz.
Violet looks at her in protest. Elisabeth squeezes her knee under the table.
I promise I'll tell you when I have news. Now finish up and get ready for bed. School tomorrow.
After dinner with his cousins, Fritz returns to his room in the church clergy house and locks the door behind him. He leans against it for a moment, closing his eyes and releasing a breath it feels like he's been holding all day. He removes his robes and changes into his sleeping clothes. Something catches his eye on his desk, a letter with a deep purple wax seal. He freezes, looks round, then double-checks the lock on his door before racing to his desk. Fritz can't open the letter fast enough. He reads it quickly.
The sparrow is alive. We thank you for your prayers, but do not require any assistance at this time.
Fritz leans back in his chair, his mind racing with questions.
She's alive. But where? Is she captured? On a mission? How do they know?
He rubs exhausted hands over his face, then digs through the desk drawer and pulls out the mysteriously coded letter his cousins had procured from the forest outpost. He reads it in his mind. No matter how many times he had examined the coded message, he couldn't seem to break it. It seemed like a mixture of uninteresting plans and gibberish, but he knew there must be a hidden meaning behind it all, as there were certain words with random letters capitalized. He scribbled down all of the capitalized letters in a row and squinted at them hard, trying to find a pattern. Nothing but a sea of letters. Fritz pushed the papers away and settled into his bed, hoping the answers would find him in his dreams. Back at Cornelia's family home, Hans and Gretchen are in the office, arguing fiercely.
Gretchen, it's either him alone or all of us. He'll be safe, but he can no longer stay here. You must understand.
He'll be safe, you say?
We both know what happens to these children. You know.
She glances to the window quickly before lowering her voice to a wicked whisper.
There is no place for Max in your glorious Reich. He is Aryan, but not pure.
Gretchen,
your only son is seen as nothing more than a rat to be exterminated for your precious Führer. And you know it.
I must protect Cornelia. I must protect you.
You must protect you. And your family's factory. And your girls. And your parties. And your ridiculous friends.
Hans realizes his wife will never understand. Time to pivot. He forces his body to visibly deflate as he turns towards the window. The very image of shame.
Of course. You're right. Gretchen, forgive me. I don't know what I was thinking. There must be another way. Someone I can bribe. I'll find a solution.
Gretchen beelines to the bar cart and pours herself a stiff one as her hands shake.
I'm sorry, darling.
Gretchen rests unforgiving eyes on her husband for a long moment, then leaves the room. Hans looks to the horizon. His eyes harden as he realizes what he must do. Iris's eyes never leave her mark as she walks briskly along the street. She's bundled up in a black coat, hat and boots, her face bare and ginger hair tucked away, hidden under a black hat. Surprisingly nondescript. She keeps to the shadows, relishing in the deep silence of the city at night. The man she's following is decked out in his SS Nazi best. Though clearly drunk, he keeps a steady pace. He's oblivious to Iris's presence. She lightly mumbles to herself under her breath as he weaves and bobs between alleys and streets. A right turn here. The man makes the right. And then a left. He makes the next left. Iris knows his route like the back of her hand. The man trots down the steps into a U-Bahn train station. Iris follows. She quickens her pace, reducing the distance between them as the soldier boards a train car. Iris tucks herself in a corner on the opposite side of the car. She keeps her gaze low and pretends to read a newspaper as they lurch along each stop. One more stop. The train screeches to a halt. This is it. The man walks swiftly off the train. Iris follows. Her hand tightens around the knife hidden in her jacket pocket. As the train pulls away, Iris glances around them. They are the only two people on the platform. Perfect. She picks up her pace, passing the man and starting up the steps. She intentionally crumbles to the ground and cries out.
Ouch.
The man immediately turns at the sound. It's the mystery man from the club, and the very one in the photograph on her mirror.
Miss? What happened?
Oh, I tripped. I'm such a klutz.
The man eyes her as she clutches her ankle, looks round at the empty platform, then looks her up and down again before approaching her. He kneels slowly.
Are you alright?
Oh, I'm not sure. I think I twisted my ankle.
He lifts her skirt slightly to investigate her ankle. Iris's breath quickens. She can barely bring herself to meet his gaze. He's right. There. Plenty of targets readily available. Neck, heart, abdomen. Easy. Just do it.
Miss?
What? Oh, I'm a little razzled. Sorry.
I said, can you stand? My house is near here. I can help you there.
Iris reaches into her pocket for her knife, gripping it tightly. She finally lifts her gaze to his and vomits all over the stairs.
Ugh! Oh, God!
He leaps to his feet and steps back in disgust. Iris takes a heaving breath, turns and runs up the stairs and out to the station. She doesn't look back. The next day, Iris sits in the corner of the front room in the bar, brutally nursing a pint of beer as a worker sweeps around her. The bartender puts away clean glasses on shelves. Iris looks like she didn't sleep. Elisabeth and Violette don't seem to notice, however, as they walk straight up to her with purpose.
We want you to train us.
Iris whips her head round with warning in her eyes.
To be singers?
No, to kill.
You're so silly, Violet. I think that hat I borrowed from you is back here. Come.
She digs her red nails into Violet's shoulder, her mouth a tight line as she drags her to the backstage area. Elisabeth scampers after them. Iris deposits Violet into a dressing room chair. You girls need to watch your mouths. I own this place and these people, but you never know who might be listening. She unsheaths her knife and slams it onto the vanity desk, still pissed off at the girl's blunder.
I'm sorry, but we need your help, Iris.
Clearly.
We have to find our mother. Our cousin doesn't know where she is and no one tells us anything.
But we did learn to shoot, to defend ourselves.
Defend yourselves? You won't be finding anyone with defense. You need offense. Iris turns away and opens a file on her vanity. She closes it and turns quickly back to glare at the girls.
Exactly. See, this is why we want you to train us to be offensive.
I could teach you. But tell me, why should I risk my neck for you? This isn't a joke. One thing goes wrong, and all this is gone. She gestures around to the bar.
For Sparrow. Clearly she's in charge of something important with your organisation. You need her.
Sparrow is important to the organisation, yes. But it's not my job to do search and rescue missions.
Well, it doesn't seem to be anyone's job from the looks of it, so it has to be us. But we can't do it on our own.
We can shoot now. And we're resourceful. We can't pay you, but maybe we can come...
Stop. I'll help you. But first, I need to know that you're serious. That I can trust you.
We are serious.
Talk is cheap. You're going to have to prove it. I need you to get rid of someone for me.
What?
Anthony Stromberg. Help me kill him, and then I'll help you find your mother. Iris throws the photo and file on the vanity. Violet picks it up and does a double take. It's the face of the soldier they killed in the woods. She blinks hard. The face changes. No, it's some other Nazi soldier of higher rank. The mystery man Iris failed to kill, not once, but twice.
You want us to just kill someone?
I want you to exterminate a rat.
But why him?
Iris lifts her skirt and shows her right buttock, which has several round scars of identical shape and size. He liked to smoke while he raped me, and then use me as his own personal ashtray. She shoves her skirt back down and turns to face the girls.
Oh, Iris, I'm so sorry.
I'm just one of many. He's out there, right now, doing it to some other girl like you. The ones who give him trouble get murdered, and no one cares. He gets away with it, then gloats to General Wolfgang and his stupid friends.
But why us, Iris? What does this have to do with our mother?
After years of searching for this rat, I finally found him. Anthony Stromberg's time is up. I'm going to kill him, and you're going to help me, because you need to learn that sometimes helping good people requires unpleasant deeds. We'll have to kill many more rats if we're going to find your mother and bring her back alive. I need to know you'll do whatever it takes for women like me, like your mother. Iris folds her arms and settles in. The girls look at one another for a long moment. Well,
we'll do it.
Think you have what it takes to decipher the coded letter? Visit our website's evidence section for clues to help you follow along with the mystery. Wicked Dames is an independent, self-funded production. If you enjoyed the show and would like to support our cast and crew, we invite you to donate the amount of your choice on our website at alisonhaselden.com/wicked-dames. This show contains explicit content and may not be suitable for all listeners. A list of all content warnings is included in the show notes of each episode for your reference.